Great heroes are only as strong as the villains they face. And sometimes, the villain is the reason we remember the movie at all. Today I'm counting down 10 movie villains who didn't just challenge the hero, they challenged us, the audience. Here's the ones who haunted our minds, redefined evil, and in some cases, made a little too much sense. Number 10, the Benefactor from The Shift. The Benefactor isn't your average movie villain. He's not chasing the hero down corridors or orchestrating a physical war. He's conducting a war of worldviews. A psychological, metaphysical villain who manipulates through doubt, despair, and temptation. Played with unsettling serenity by Neil McDonough, the Benefactor exists across dimensions and thrives on tearing down hope, one soul at a time. What makes him terrifying isn't what he does, but what he represents. He's a smooth-talking force of entropy, pushing characters to abandon their beliefs and embrace chaos disguised as freedom. There's no mustache twirling here. He's calm, rational, and disturbingly persuasive. He's the kind of villain who could talk you into giving up without ever raising his voice. That quiet philosophical warfare is what makes him such a standout. Number 9, The Voice from Held. In Held, the villain has no face, no name, and no physical form, just a voice, cold, commanding, omnipresent. When a couple finds themselves trapped in a smart home with their every move dictated by this mysterious voice, the terror isn't in what it threatens to do, but it's in the horrifying realization that it knows everything about them, every secret, every weakness. What elevates the voice beyond a typical thriller antagonist is how plausible it feels. With today's technology and smart homes becoming more integrated into daily life, the idea of losing control to an artificial, moralistic overseer doesn't feel like science fiction. It feels like a few lines of codes away. And when the true origin of the voice is revealed, it's not just chilling, it's devastatingly human. Number 8, Owen from Mission Impossible 3. Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is arguably the most grounded and intimidating villain in the Mission Impossible franchise, and he barely lifts his finger. He doesn't need a super weapon or an evil lair. He weaponizes calm, calculated cruelty. Every line he delivers drips with menace, and yet it's never overacted. It's disturbingly matter-of-fact. What makes the villain in the film work is how real he feels. He doesn't see himself as a movie villain. He's a businessman dealing in the darkest corners of the arms trade, and if you cross him, or someone you love does, he won't yell. He'll just let you know what's going to happen, and then follow through. His torture scene on the plane is pure dread, and his unpredictability adds a constant sense of danger. It's a masterclass in low-key menace. Number 7, Dreykov from Black Widow. Dreykov is the kind of villain who could easily be dismissed, until you stop and think about what he represents. He's not building a death ray. He's not trying to end the world. He's already changed it, quietly and horrifyingly, through a global network of brainwashed assassins, many of them kidnapped as children. And the kicker? The world didn't even notice. In Black Widow, Dreykov embodies a very specific kind of evil. Institutional, systemic, invisible. He sees women as assets to be harvested, stripped of autonomy, and discarded without a second thought. What makes him so terrifying is that his villainy doesn't feel like fantasy. It feels like a harsh reflection of reality. And Ray Winstone's performance drives it home, smug, remorseless, and disturbingly casual about the horrors he's created. Number 6, Alexander Pierce from Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Alexander Pierce isn't a madman in a mask. He's worse. He is the respectable face of tyranny, polished, professional, and hiding in plain sight. As the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., Pierce is in a position of ultimate trust, which makes his betrayal that much more impactful. He doesn't overthrow the system. He is the system. What makes Pierce such a compelling villain is his ideology. He believes in order, control, security through fear, and he's willing to eliminate anyone who stands in the way. He doesn't see himself as evil. He sees himself as a visionary. That quiet confidence, played perfectly by Robert Redford, makes him far more dangerous than a typical MCU villain. He isn't out for revenge. He's out for compliance. Number 5, President Snow from The Hunger Games. President Snow is tyranny. He doesn't need to yell because the Capitol does his bidding for him. He's a master of image, narrative, and subtlety, and that makes him infinitely more dangerous. His calm demeanor makes an ocean of cruelty, and every word he speaks is calculated to control, manipulate, or destroy. What sets Snow apart is how he views the people beneath him, not as citizens, but as tools. He knows how to weaponize fear, how to snuff out rebellion before it sparks, how to twist symbols of hope into instruments of oppression. The white roses, the gentle voice, the bleeding mouth, all symbols of a man who rules through illusion and terror. He doesn't just want obedience, he wants submission. Number 4, Kevin Wendell Crumb from Split. Kevin Wendell Crumb isn't just one villain, he's over 20, and that makes him one of the most complex and unsettling antagonists of the decade. James McAvoy's performance in Split is extraordinary, switching between personalities with a tilt of the head, a change in posture, or a shift in tone. One moment you're being a child named Hedwig, the next you're facing the Beast. Kevin is a man broken by trauma, and in many ways he's a victim, but the personalities that rise to protect him have taken on lives of their own, and some are deeply sinister. The Beast believes in purity through suffering. He sees the broken as holy, and the whole as worthy of destruction. It's a villain born from pain, and empowered by it. You feel sympathy and fear in equal measure, which makes him unforgettable. Number 3, the Riddler from The Batman from 2022. This is not the riddle-loving prankster of past adaptations. This Riddler is a cipher-wielding, live-streaming serial killer, modeled after real-world monsters like the Zodiac Killer. Paul Dano brings a disturbing intensity to the role, creating a villain who is both terrifyingly unstable and uncomfortably relatable. He's not trying to destroy Gotham. He's trying to, in his own words, cleanse it. And that's what makes him so dangerous. He believes he and Batman are on the same side. They both want justice. They both want to punish the corrupt. While Bruce stops short of killing, Riddler goes full anarchy. His traps are sadistic, his puzzles lethal, and his followers are willing to die for him. The moment he whispers, "I thought we were doing this together," is chilling, because you realize he truly believes it. Number 2, Thanos from Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. Thanos is a villain on a scale the MCU had never seen, but what makes him legendary isn't his strength, it's his conviction. He doesn't see himself as evil, he sees himself as the savior of the universe. Wiping out half of life is, to him, an act of mercy, a way to restore balance and prevent extinction, and the scariest part, he genuinely believes it. Josh Brolin delivers a performance that's calm, collected, and oddly dignified. Thanos doesn't rant, he doesn't boast, he just does. When he succeeds in Infinity War, it doesn't feel like a triumph of evil, it feels like the heroes were simply too late. When he arrests watching the sunrise after committing genocide, you realize this wasn't revenge, this was ideology, fully realized. And number 1 is Darth Vader from Star Wars. There is no villain more iconic than Darth Vader. From the moment he steps onto the screen in New Hope, he commands fear. The breathing, the black armor, the sheer presence. But Vader is more than just a symbol. He's a tragedy. He was once a hero, a Jedi, a protector, and he became the galaxy's most feared enforcer. What makes Vader endure isn't just his power, it's his pain. He's ruthless because he's broken. He's terrifying because he's lost. When his arc comes full circle, when he chooses to save his son, he becomes something rare. A villain who earns redemption without losing the weight of his darkness. He is cinema's ultimate antagonist, and his legacy still echoes across generations of storytelling. There you have it, my top 10 movie villains. I'm sure there are more that I didn't include that you're welcome to include. Let me see yours in the comments, and be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you next time.